Hey guys, it's Mitch here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm just gonna take a look at my Pleione orchids now that it's the fall and just do a little chat about the fall care for these spring blooming orchids. Pleione orchids, they go dormant this time of year. Right now it's the end of October, beginning of November, so as you can see, they're starting to drop all of their leaves. They're all turning brown. And if you look on the surface, you can see all the new bulbs that formed over the summer. So some of them are still kind of green, but I've moved them out of the rain now because we get rain this time of year on the West Coast. So they're under this big overhang where they don't get any rain, and I just put them all under here, so they're all sitting here. I haven't really cleaned them up yet, but this time of year it's really important to let them dry out and get ready for their winter rest. So I still leave them in a nice sunny spot because it doesn't really matter, but it is really important that they dry out. So some people at this time of year, once all the leaves fall off, like with these ones, you can see they don't have any leaves left. They're just a pot of bulbs. So some people do dig these up and remove all of these dried up sheaths, like pull all these off and take them out of the potting mix and cut off all the roots and then store them in the fridge. In fact, that is what I did last year, but you can see all the Pleiones I have here. I have a lot, and a lot of them have these little, here I'll show you right here, see these little tiny bulbs that fall off? And so storing these and planting these in the spring, it's kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie. Especially when you have a lot, like you can see there's a lot in this pot. So digging them all up, labeling them all, and then repotting them all in the spring, it's just not something I really feel like doing this year. And I did depot one pot of Pleiones, and I noticed that their bark wasn't really broken down because I did these nice layers of perlite in there and bark, so they did stay nice and dry in the summer, where they did get a lot of rain and water, and I did fertilize them regularly, but the potting mix didn't break down because it wasn't always like super saturated. So I think I'm gonna leave them in for one more year in their pots. Maybe not all of them, but you can see like these ones, the bark is really nice, it's in good shape. If you can see here in this one, because it's a clay pot, I did line the clay with saran wrap so that it didn't dry out as fast in the summer. And you can see the bark is in really good shape. And you know, I like how the bulbs are held in nicely so they don't like wiggle around. And that's the thing, when you plant them in the spring, they kind of don't have that anchor anymore, so they're kind of wobbly. And so some of the ones that I had that were blooming this last year, they did kind of topple over if the flower was too tall or the wind blew it over, which I didn't really like. So this year I'm going to try and avoid that and just leave them in the pots for an extra year. I have watched a lot of videos where people on the West Coast just leave these outside all winter, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave them in a protected place. Probably right here on the patio, because it's nice and close to the house. It gets nice sun in the morning and afternoon, so it'll always warm up here. And if it does go like down below zero for a long period of time, like last year we had about a month where there was a lot of snow and frosts, and it was -5 or 10, then I'll move them inside into my little shed area where they'll be protected from that whoops, what happened here, that cold temperatures. So Anyway, what I will do is, not while I'm on camera, but I will pull off all of these dead leaves on all the bulbs so that it's just the bulbs, and I'll probably clean off some of those sheaths, and then I'll just leave them be. I love the bulbs. I just think they're so pretty. Tulips are some of my favorite flowers. Oh, so I was saying that tulips are some of my favorite flowers, and these kind of remind me of tulips, and they have really beautiful flowers in the springtime. And you know what? I love how low maintenance they are. You really don't have to do much with these Pleione orchids, is because in the fall, winter, they're dormant, so you just leave them alone, and then they really put on a nice show in the spring. And then in the summer, you just put them in kind of a shady place and just water them, you know, depending on the heat, once or twice a week, and fertilize them every couple of weeks. So they're pretty easy to grow, and they do multiply, like you can see. So this one had a bulb that was almost dead last year, but it put out 2 new shoots, so it has 2 bulbs. Same with this one. I had 1 bulb that I thought was for sure gonna die, but it still put out 2 growths, and I have 2 bulbs. Same with this one. So they multiply pretty quickly. And this time of year, like see here, and I don't know if you can see that. This little point, that's the flower bud for next spring, so that's where the flower is gonna come out. So that's pretty exciting when you see that, because you're like, yeah, I did something right, and it's gonna bloom, and you can just wait for the nice show in the spring. And spring is my favorite time of year to actually be in the garden and doing stuff, because you know, you're just coming out of winter and everything puts on a nice good show. And then summertime is more for relaxing, not really working on the garden. Anyway, it's really important to keep these guys dry and cold in the winter. That's kind of how the bulbs rest, and yeah, then they will start to grow again in the spring. And it's really important to keep them dry while they're growing in the spring until they put down their nice new roots, and then you can water as much as you want. I don't know if you remember, but if you watched my video with the white ones that we're putting on a nice show in the spring, this is all the bulbs that grew out of that little pot. So we got quite a lot of bulbs. So pretty excited to see if they will bloom as much again in the spring. Anyway, that's it for my little Pleione fall orchid care. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me down below. And thanks a lot for watching.